A lot of time, and especially those days, I feel very angry at a lot of things around me because I feel I depend completely on them and I'm powerless about them. And I develop a lot of bitterness about all that. And just because I feel I'm dependent on those material things most of the time, or people, or whatever, and I don't have control, and so I have to undergo those events, and that's very, very like difficult, and makes me in a bad situation, bad mood, and so on. So I really had to find a solution about that, and when I think about it a bit more calmly, I just, take step back and look at all that. I just realized that most of the time, it's, well, for some part, it comes back to financial situation. Okay, I bought something and it happens that it's not what it was meant to be, and I don't get a refund about it, and it gets me very angry about it. And when you think about it, it's just about money. What makes me angry is the feeling that I'm powerless about that, and that it has a lot of value because I do everything I can to manage my finance. And as most of the people, we put a lot of value on our finance, obviously, because it is the material value of our life. And so when we feel we are like we've been stolen and that there's nothing we can do about it, we feel it's very unfair, and that's really, like it's like an attack on ourselves, and that is exactly the kind of situation that makes me feel bitter, a lot of anger and so on. But once again, there are two things. The first one, if I want to break that down, first of all, it's about money. The only result is money. What if money was not a concern for me? I could say, okay, fine, it's not fair, and but it doesn't really, it's not an attack against me because it doesn't hurt me at all. I have all the money I want. If it was that, I could say, that it doesn't hurt me. That's one thing. The other thing is, I feel I'm attacked because that's not fair, and that was due against me, and that's clearly not fair. But the world is not fair. I would say that there are clearly, what I believe is that the human world, what we're all experimenting, is not fair. We're not fair at all. We're experimenting a lot of things, and most of the things we do, our systems and our behaviors, everything, our companies, it's not most of them, all of them are not perfect at all, and most of them are completely unfair, and unrealistic even. That's just the nature of our life. So it would be good to recognize that the world is not the one we've been taught. Work well at school and you'll have a good life. It's not working like that at all. It's not working at all. There are so many things that are just not fair. But that's just the human world. Now I would say the real world. What is about the real world? I really believe that we control our not necessarily conditions, but the outcome. Maybe the situation is not fair, and a lot of situations are not fair, but the result depends on me. Yesterday I was talking about sports competition that I was doing. At this moment, you know that there are a lot of things that you didn't control, but you learn that you are the one who is in control. You have to be in control. The champion is the one who is in charge no matter what. It doesn't control everything around him, but it takes care of all that, and he manage all that, and he find a solution, and He's the resource. He knows he's the resource, and that's what we learn when we're doing sport, and especially competition, and not necessarily sport, but competition or things like that. And if we want to be good, we know that we are the resource, and we have to be the resource, and we have no limit. We can be the champion if we just focus on ourselves and find the resource in ourselves, and don't look for excuses and so on. So it's a very good attitude. And in life, I believe it's exactly the same. So no matter what the conditions are, we have all the resources we want, but we just feel we are victim of a lot of things. And I would say that the more we tend to live and to grow old, the more we feel we are a victim, because we experiment a lot of things and we realize that a lot of things are not what they were meant to be, what we've been told they would be, and we feel more and more powerless. And I believe that's what causes us to decline, and eventually to really be old, really be old and eventually to die. All is about ourselves. And so I come back to my story. What makes me angry is situations where I feel powerless. But first of all, it's not true. I'm not powerless. I just have to remember that I am the resource no matter what. The money is just, I would say, it's a value, it's a material value that we all use because we live in a physical world. There's no doubt about it. So it has a good deal of importance, but I would say I am the resource of my income. Even though at that moment I don't have as much money I would like, I really think I am the only resource. So all that makes me think, well, two things. The first is I am in charge, and I always must be in charge, whatever is happening in my life, and my thoughts must always reflect that I'm in charge at any given moment. And most of the time we just overlook what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and we feel powerless. We feel we are, we just want to stay in a situation where it doesn't feel really uncomfortable. Because we feel we have a lot of limits around us, so we just want to feel in a situation that feels pretty good, but that's false. Every time I have this kind of behavior, and I would say that's most of the time, I set limits in my life, and I am a victim, and I am powerless, and that's not true. I clearly believe that's not true. The second thing, so it's about money by itself, and money is so yes, so money is I have power, I have the control, and it's up to me to increase my income. Obviously, and that's one thing. And so the second thing is the world isn't fair, but it doesn't really matter. Everyone is experimenting whatever they want. I just know that I personally don't want to be unfair, like I feel others are with me. I don't want that. So that's the only thing that I have to know in this situation. And I'm not hurt because I know, first of all, that the human world is clearly not fair. But it doesn't hurt me because I am the resource and I can manage anything at all. So really, what my big point today is to come back on me and say I am the resource. I am the resource no matter what. I don't have to get angry and not even upset about anything, and much more than that, everything that makes me feel uncomfortable, I look at that and I say no, there's no reason. Okay, that's what it is now, but now I'm going to overlook this uncomfort, and I know that others can do that. Okay, I can do it, especially in there's one example today. For example, it's I've been practicing salsa dance for like 9 months now, and it's really an area where I'm not good at dancing. I'm not good at all, but I really enjoy that, and that's my challenge, to be good at dancing. So I I would say I'm not too bad because I really practice a lot and I really invest myself in that. But I really have to overcome a lot of limits and feelings that about to really good and at ease in dancing. So that's a big challenge. And every time I get a little better, I look further and I say, no, but that's not enough. Others do much, much better than that. If they can do it, I can do it. And it really feels, awkward for me because it's the kind of situation where I feel, no, no, it's not me, it's not for me, I'm not good at that, that makes me feel uncomfortable and so on. But anything that makes me feel uncomfortable now, I want to look at it and I look at it and I say, I am the resource and there's nothing that I can't do, but I am the resource. So one big thing I realize is that my thoughts are mostly related to what to the look of others, what I think, how am I going to be perceived by others, what are going to be the reactions of others if I do that, if I look this way or this way, and that's where I put the power outside of me. I put the power on the look of others, and that's where I lose control. So I come back on myself and I realize that the best moments in whatever I'm doing, the best moments where I really improve in any kind of area is when I just focus on me. I say, I want to improve in this area. And I just focus on that and on the pleasure I have to reach the next level. Always the pleasure. When I focus on that, I improve. Each time I try to, I'm not that focused. And I tend to do things like a bit more like everything else. That is, I come back on what are others going to think of me, how am I going to be perceived, and so on. I'm not good. I'm not good. Clearly, I put a lot of limits. So when I focus on I am the resource and I really enjoy what I'm reaching now, what I'm building, because I know I have the resource and that's what I build, that's what I want, and I take it. And when I focus on that and I act and I behave with this kind of mindset, I'm good. But I don't care what others think. I just overlook all that, and that's very good. Not only for me, but for people that are around me. I react very well. There's no problem with that. So I don't have to take that into account. It's not a problem at all. So yeah, that's my point for today. A lot of things just to come back on myself and realizing I am the resource no matter what, and I just have to enjoy, not only stop. I have to stop being angry and upset and bitter about my life and events around me, but I have to come back on I am the resource. And I know that the problem is that we've learned so many times that it's important. Money is important. Don't waste money. So when we feel we are, someone stole ourselves, we feel hurt, we feel attacked, and that's clearly a bad thing. It's not true. It's not true and not attacked. Money is not ours. It's just a means, and yeah, it's my money in a way, but it's just it's just a flow of value, of material value that we use, and that's it. And I have control on this flow. That's it. That's a flow. I have control on this flow. It's not me. It's not my value. It's nothing like that. It's not that important. So, a big shift of mindset and of perception to make concrete in order to really focus on my power and on really acting on what is important and really being better and better and moving faster and faster, because that's what I want now. Okay, so that's my point for today, and obviously I'll come back tomorrow for another point in order to move as fast as I can. Bye bye.